Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to indulge you in the Windwalker Monk in the Legion Alpha. Super early build, we're like 6 months away, probably from the release of the live game. So, lots of changes, obviously. Numbers aren't tuned or anything like that. But this is how it's looking right now. And I've got to be honest, looking pretty complete. I've kind of prefaced every single one of the early looks with saying whether or not I feel that the class is close to what it's going to be on live or whether it seems miles away, and this one seems pretty damn close. It has undergone many changes, some of which people aren't happy about, and understandably so. In fact, it's a pretty clear step away from the traditional Windwalker look and feel that many of you are probably used to. Although some remnants remain, we still have Blackout Kick, we still have Tiger Palm, we still have Rising Sun Kick, and so on. They've been fundamentally altered to not really work the same way anymore. So although they have the same name, they're very much not the same spell. So let us get down to the changes then. Let's start with Touch of Death. Touch of Death has been altered to not really be a Touch of Death anymore. It's a 2-minute cooldown. Okay, it's a 2-minute cooldown. There's huge amounts of damage. You can use it on the pull. You can use it whenever the hell you want. There's no resets or anything like that. It's literally just a big DPS hitting spell. It goes off after 8 seconds and will take damage equal to the monk's maximum health. Note, we no longer have Fortifying Brew, so you can't do any sort of cheesing with that anymore. It's just a DPS spell. Always nice to pull off those little touch of death cheeses, as many of you will know on various fights, just to pad out that damage a little bit more. But hey, I'm doing a service. The target died, right? Fuck you guys. Yeah, so that's been fundamentally changed. The buff from Rising Sun Kick is gone. It's just an 8-second cooldown that does huge amounts of damage. That's it. Okay, it reduces the effectiveness of healing, but no debuff that you're used to. Tiger Palm no longer provides you with a buff, okay? When you do Tiger Palm, though, it has an 8% chance to make your next Blackout Kick free, so that's where your old mastery comes in. And Blackout Kick is just a dump of chi, because one chi. Fist of Fury still exists. It's now channelable on the move, doesn't stun anything, all right? Anything like that. It's just a simple DPS spell. All right, so those are your fundamentals, really. Tiger Eye Brew has been changed. It's now something that you have a 1.5 minute recharge on. It goes to 2 stacks, okay, and you can increase the duration. So if it lasts 15 seconds on its own, it increases your damage by 30%. So you're not trying to build as many stacks as possible early. The Expel Harm no longer exists. There's no pre-pulling or anything like that. So you can have a 30-second buff, or you can have a 15-second buff if you want to use 1 stack or 2 stacks respectively. We have a new spell which comes as the mandatory spell with our artifact weapons, which you strike out with both fists at all enemies within 8 yards in front of you, dealing 95,000 damage. 3 chi, so you essentially have 2 Fists of Fury right now. I will say this is feeling rather weak. It sounds a lot, 95,000, but Fist of Fury just does so much more, like 218,000, that, yeah, you get the idea, okay? You get the idea. But it's still there somewhere to dump chi, and it basically plays into the brand new mechanic that has been brought in for Windwalkers, which is the idea of combo strikes. Your abilities will deal 23% more damage when they are not a repeat of the previous ability. This thing had me seriously worried, as I've no doubt it had many people worried when you first heard it. Were we going to have to use stupid spells like a spinning crane kick we had nothing else to press, just to try and use our energy so it's not wasted, and try and fit some sort of attack in so we could keep up the buff, because we obviously don't want to let it drop. All that kind of stuff was a big part of the thinking when first reading this. So let me get it out the way first of all. Excuse me. Let me get it out of the way first of all. It's actually fine. It's really fine. After about 10 minutes, you're completely used to it. And it actually creates a very fluid playstyle. I want to say straight out the gate that this thing plays much faster than the initial WOD version of the Windwalker, which felt like you were waiting to hail a cab in between abilities. This thing plays much faster. It's really in the middle ground. It's not super fast, but it's not slow either. It has little moments of downtime, but not by a great deal. So I'm okay with that. I suspect that haste won't be a big part of this. There's no, like, a multi-strike buff to be watching for or anything like that. There's no, like, random procs that are being generated here. It's a very normal thing. You do have when you equip Tiger Palm, the Fists of the Heavens have a chance to infuse you with the powers of wind, increasing your attack speed. So you white damage, yeah? You're not going to be making many decisions based on that, really. I mean, there's some, but not a great deal. Not a great deal to be done there. If you're wondering what windwalking is, that's the ability to increase the movement speed of your allies, okay? It's a passive 10% movement speed increase by having a Windwalker in there. The other big change, before we get into the talents then, is Storm, Earth, and Fire. Storm, Earth, and Fire, as you currently know it in WoD, you pick a target and you send off your little copy or clone off to go and do damage to it, and you can pick another one and do the same, and you can leave them on it, or you watch for the targets to die, and then you have some micromanagement involved with Storm, Earth, and Fire. They have absolutely gutted it. This is a considerably worse version, and I think it's the idea that Blizzard hates spells that they feel need an add-on to be used effectively. I never needed an add-on for Storm, Earth, and Fury. Right, I didn't even need a mouse over, really. You could use it in between global cooldowns. You could do all kinds of stuff just to send these off. But what happens now is you literally activate it. 2 clones will appear. Not 1, not 4, not 5. Exactly. Okay, exactly 2 clones of you. And they will actively go and seek out targets to attack on their own. Right now, the AI is wonky. Yeah, I tilt my head. The AI is wonky. I have had these things go off and just wander 40 yards plus to targets that I was nowhere near, and I just didn't notice at the time because you tend to fire and forget them now. You don't, because you don't micromanage them, you don't really think about them too much. You just fire them off like this, and you just sort of get on with it. And you can see they just pick targets and they just fuck off and go and do things. So I've had their targets die and not noticed that Red Boy has fucked off like over there to start picking a fight with things. It's really cool for like farming, because you don't really worry about anything. You just have these guys constantly pulling all the time for you, and you just wander around and like pick the targets and do some damage so you can get the loot and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, to say it has got me killed probably more than once would be an understatement. I've done like 2.5 levels on this thing in Stormheim, which is very limited XP. And yeah, I've had some fun moments with Storm, Earth, and Fire. It's worse than it is on live. It just is what it is, and I can't see them changing it back either. So that's my great sadness is Storm, Earth, and Fire, which was a very fun, unique ability in Warlords of Draenor, and since the inception of Windwalkers, and now it's just kind of shitty. It's just a cleave. It's like a really crappy Blade Flurry more than anything. That's about it. So that's how it plays. Let's go into the talents then. Let's go into the talents and take a look. I've had fun with this, honestly. I was expecting something really slow and horrible. It's not. It's really not. It's not even clunky. So at level 15 you get Chi Burst, which you know what it is, a Chi Wave. You also get Eye of the Tiger, which is Tiger Palm also applies the Eye of the Tiger, dealing just nature damage to the enemy and healing the monk. Nothing mega there, nothing really interesting. You guys know what these spells are. Level 30, Chi Torpedo or Tiger's Lust or Celerity. You guys know what they are. At level 45, Energizing Brew is now a talent. Boo! But as I said, I can't see having a lot of energy being a very big deal. You're not really limited by energy in any form because you're trying to use the combo strikes to mix and match spending Chi in between. And you're actually saving your Tiger Palm, which is essentially jab. Yeah, your Tiger Palm is essentially jab. You're trying to mix that in between various abilities, so you're spending Chi and generating Chi, and there's always a fine balance going on here, so it's not a very big deal that's in there. Ascension and Power Strikes still remain the same, which is cool, but they definitely feel weaker now in favor of Power Strikes, at least in my gameplay experience, right? The math might point to something different, but actually being out in the world and attacking things, I've been more than fine with Power Strikes. Ring of Peace is still there, Dizzying Kicks, Blackout Kick also snares, and Leg Sweep, you all know them. Healing Elixirs is still there, Diffuse Magic and Dampen Harm. Not much change going on here. They're quite happy with how the monk talent system works. Russian Jade Wind still exists. It's not, doesn't replace Spinning Crane Kick. Yeah, I know, right? I know. It doesn't replace Spinning Crane Kick. You can absolutely do both. Spinning Crane Kick generates Chi and Russian Jade Wind costs Chi. Evoke Zuen. A little bit of on-demand burst, essentially, single target burst. But also hit combo. Hit combo is really cool for sustained damage because you're going to be doing combo strikes anyway. This is the alternating attacks business. And hit combo just buffs you by 10% damage all the way through that. So once your fingers absolutely get used to... The only mistake I've ever made after getting used to this was occasionally forgetting that I just pressed Tiger Palm and not press something else. And that was about it. Every now and again, you do make that mistake. But that's like after only a few hours of play. That's the biggest concern I have with it. And I'm no doubt, if this was my main character, I would never really be making that mistake. At level 100, we have the worst talent in the history of mankind, which is Chi Orbit. Every 5 seconds, an orb of energy forms and rotates around you until it impacts an enemy, dealing 26,000 damage. Here it is. Now, you might think, why is that the worst talent ever? Well, it's totally passive. I've had this thing hit fucking rabbits. I've had it hit things that are just about to die anyway. I've had it just, you have no control over it. It just does this. If you've got one boss in front of you, fine, whatever. But you can't do anything with it. And this is a world where we want options of things to do for attacks. That's actually a great benefit. Serenity. It's kind of the same. Because we're limited in a way by the hit combo, Serenity doesn't make a lot of sense anymore. Because you're just going to be getting a lot of blackout kicks, and blackout kicks aren't that amazing. They're just not that amazing. You get 67k out of Rising Sun Kick, 300k from Fist of Fury, 100k from Strike of the Windlord, and you get like 30k from Blackout Kick. So it's just not that amazing. As I said, we're not limited by energy or chi. You're not really limited by those things anymore. You're more pre-planning and more methodical in your attacks. But Serenity is still there for some burst. The better option in general is going to be Spinning Dragon Kick, which I'd love to see this back in this form, because it's a very underused spell in its first incarnation, which performs a devastating spinning upward strike of 80,000 damage to all enemies around you, only usable while Fist of Fury and Rising Sun Kick are on cooldown, which plays perfectly into the hit combo style of play. It plays perfectly into there. What the math will point to, I have no idea. That you can't even math this thing in. I see people trying to math and sending me math all the time of, well, you said this in your video, but the math says you shouldn't do this. It's like, you're mathing on alpha, right? There's spells here that are supposed to be executes that do less damage than an auto attack. So just bear that in mind for the moment. So the math won't be till much later in the beta, when we'll take a more deeper look at the Windwalker. Something I'm very much looking forward to, because right now I really enjoy this. So let's have a look at the artifacts, and then we'll show the playstyle in action. There's no new animations, really, besides the Fist of Fury one, which I thought was a bug at first, but I'm actually convinced now Survival has something very similar, that it's actually correct. So, as I said, you get Strike of the Windlord as your main. Pick that up. Good Karma. Damage taken while Touch of Karma actively heals you. So good. I was working towards that, actually, while my leveling experience, but as the alpha switches off in a few hours, I didn't have enough time to get to 104 on every single class. So, yeah, I didn't quite pick it up. Did pick up my Fist of the Wind, which increases the damage of Fist of Fury. Yeah! Tornado Kicks. Rising Sun Kick now strikes a second time for 100% additional damage. Cool. I'm fine with that. As a passive goes, that's alright in my book. Crosswinds. While using Fist of Fury, you frequently project an image of yourself to crash into one of the attacks you are hitting. Can't wait to see that. Very much out of reach. You can, this is actually gated on the alpha. It's not a case of if I got 104 I can pick these up. I can't. It's actually gated, so you can't get these yet. And Gale Burst. 10% of all damage dealt to a target with your Touch of Death on them will be added onto the damage of Touch of Death deals. So you can set up these crazy burst windows. No wonder it's called Gale Burst, right? So you pop Touch of Death. You've got 8 seconds then to go hamburgers. And then you're going to add that to Touch of Death. It's almost like a ring proc in a way. It's very interesting, and I can't wait to play with that as well and set up some sort of burst, like making sure that I've got Fist of Fury ready at least, right? I've got Fist of Fury ready. I've got a Rising Sun Kick. Maybe I'm mixing that Rising Sun Kick with Tornado Kicks. Oh, yeah. Throwing in a Spinning Dragon Kick, or hopefully a Strike of the Windlord. Chi allowing. So make sure I've got hit combo. I'm going to put this on so you can see that the stack maintains, essentially. But the playstyle is slightly different. Obviously, as Rising Sun Kick no longer does that very important debuff, it's not really your top priority. So you have a choice on the pull, which is either to do 2 Tiger Palms and sacrifice the hit combo once in order to go straight into a Fist of Fury, or Tiger Palm, Rising Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, and then into a Fist of Fury. Entirely your choice. It's going to be one of those things that eventually somebody will be like, okay, this is the best way of doing it. Okay, cool. No problem at all. But just for the demonstration of hit strikes, just to show how it works. You go in, you get started using Tiger Palm, and then you can go into Fist of Fury. Like this. And now while that's on cooldown, what we can do is then Tiger Palm and pull a Hurricane Kick off. Then Tiger Palm. And you can see your hit combo is starting to build up. Yeah. Tiger Palm there. And you can see now it all starts to work out really quite nicely. So it's very, very smooth, honestly. It feels nice. You can see these little periods of downtime, but again, I'm in leveling gear, so I have no doubt this will ease up towards the end. Rising Sun Kick, and then I can go into Fist of Fury. You can see the buff maintains really easily. Tiger Palm, then I can go into a Hurricane Kick, then I can use a Rising Sun Kick, then I can Tiger Palm. And your fingers get very used to what you're supposed to press. And in fact, I'm missing out on Strike of the Windlord. I apologize. I should be using that instead of Blackout Kick in nearly all occasions. Strike of the Windlord. Then into Tiger Palm, then into a Fist of Fury. I've got the free Blackout Kick waiting. Cool, so I can Tiger Palm, I can Blackout Kick, and then I can Rising Sun Kick. And you'll be altering your playstyle all the time. But that's absolutely fine. It plays really smoothly, honestly. It's a lot of fun. A lot of management going on here. I would say that energy is absolutely not of any concern, which you've probably noticed already. But again, with more natural haste that we're bound to get over the course of the expansion. If it was to go live like this, it wouldn't be much of a problem. The only thing that I'm not doing there, which is obviously slacking on Strike of the Windlord, which I apologise for, and Touch of Deathing, which costs nothing, so it doesn't really affect much of anything. And you've got Tiger Eye Brew for your on-demand DPS. It's pretty awesome, guys, honestly. It is really awesome. And I'm happy with it. What I was just showing there is you can use Chi Wave as a filler. Okay? A lot of people were asking about dodgy spells that you throw in. Well, Chi Wave is pretty shit. Right? Excuse me. It is pretty shit. Bounces 7 times. So a single target, yeah, it's pretty wank. But you can use these spells to throw out there and keep the hit combo going. You can absolutely do that. So I'll demonstrate that again by doing like Tiger Palm, Chi Wave, Tiger Palm, Tiger Palm, Chi Wave, Tiger Palm. You see? Works fine. Works absolutely fine to do that. And the benefit of that, why is that important? Because you don't want to be in that scenario where you feel like you're forced to like get rid of your hit combo, especially if you're taking hit combo as a talent. You don't want to do that. But by demonstrating it there, you can see it's absolutely not a problem to make best use of combo strikes. It actually makes the spec very fluid. So I hope they do something with that nicely. If I was to say anything right now, I would say that the proc management could be really fun and interesting on a Windwalker. It has been shifted over to combo strikes, so it's not that big of a deal. If you were like, oh god, I don't have to manage Rising Sun Kick, I don't have to manage Tiger Palm anymore. Well, generally you didn't anyway. Tiger Palm always kind of procced, right? You didn't really have to manage it that much. You paid some attention to it, but not a great deal. And you were Rising Sun Kick on cooldown anyway, so how much you were managing that buff can be debated. Obviously, if you're a better player, you were saving a Rising Sun Kick for new ads and stuff like that. That's absolutely fine. But the shift over to combo strikes is equally as engaging, which is not to say it's difficult or hard, but it wasn't in the first place. You get what I'm saying there? The real sadness comes from Storm, Earth, and Fire, because this is just flat out, it's just inferior. It's weaker. It's sadder. It's just less fun. Because you fire it off, it's like, oh, I've got 3 mobs or more. Fire them. Now they're dead. Get rid of them. That's the dream come true. But there is something to absolutely be said for when you pull off the 3 hurricane kick. Look at this fucking animation. Awful. Whee! It's so good when you pull it off because it just does so much damage. It is a lot of fun. It is absolutely a lot of fun. Oh god, my chest. The Windwalker, ladies and gentlemen. We can still even be a Sith Lord if we want to. Yeah? Keeping it real. So all they've really done is shift the way you micromanage the class. But it feels fine. It absolutely feels fine. I have no big deals with this. I had fun leveling this, and we'll be looking forward to playing it even more. I really will be. It's not something I'm pessimistic about or feel needs a very careful eye, but I obviously will be keeping one anyway. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.